Let's talk about the M3 here. This is a 1997 E36 M3 Sedan. Had a really good trip home with it from Florida. It drove great. I just had a small issue with the check engine light and the gas gauge. The gas gauge was kind of fluctuating between what it should show and then killing over completely to empty. So I think it has something to do with like the gas expansion tank or something. The previous owner tried to address it before I got the car, but I don't think they sorted it out properly. So I got that to deal with. But you're probably wondering, gee, Chris, why an E36 M3? We didn't see this coming. Well, I was looking at E24 M6s, but I just felt the prices on those things had gotten to a point where they weren't as good of a buy as they used to be. So this one was easier to get into. You're still buying less than half of MSRP, which is, that's where I want to be to get into something like this. And I still think they're kind of underappreciated cars. And one of the reasons I like this car a lot is it's a sedan. I did want a coupe. I did want a convertible. You see those too often. I just like the sedan look. I think they kind of have that DTM sort of look to them. You don't see them quite as often. Not that many of them around. I mean, they built like 8,000 of them, so they're around, but not that many in bright red Hellrot. I think there's only a few hundred that were actually in red for whatever reason. You don't see many sedans in bright red. So it's just, one of those things where I like to have something a little bit different again. You don't see them on the road as often anymore, just because they're not building anymore, that's for sure. But just really happy with the car. It's got 56,000 miles, pretty much a one-owner car up until about 2015 or so. It was in the same family. I think it was like originally a lease car, and then when the lease was up, the original owner sold it to like a nephew or something in the family. So he only drove it like 10,000 miles over 10 years, from like 2003 or 4 to 2014 or 2015. So it was a secondary car, a weekend car, garage queen sort of car. So it wasn't driven very much, and it was extremely well taken care of. And then that person sold it to a high-end exotic car dealership down in Florida that sells like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff. And then that owner drove it as his personal car for about a year or so and put about 9,000 miles on it. And then the guy I bought it from them. So pretty much more or less a one-owner, one-family car until about a year and a half ago. And it's pretty much a cherry. It's got a few minor issues I need to work on, some DIY projects to get it, just perfect like I want it. But of course, we'll see how DIY goes with me, because I can make DIY look extremely more complicated than it needs to be. But those projects are upcoming. But this car, it's got as you can see, it's got the M spoiler on it. It's got Harman Kardon, onboard computer, manual seats, no power seats. No power seats. I wish it did have the split fold down rear seat. That was an option, but I don't have that. But otherwise, pretty much all here. The paint is just unbelievable, really, for a car this old. But I haven't washed it yet because it's been outside and I got other people handling the car, so no reason to clean it many times over when they're just going to dirty it. So I take it to the window tinter tomorrow, and so that'll get done. So hopefully it'll look better after that. Once I get some of this out of the way, I'll start cleaning it up. But as you know, I flew down to Florida. I put the bra on it down there and drove it back, and that was a huge help just because it kept me from getting stone chips and stuff. I might take those chrome kidney grills out and put black grills in. Might do the side markers too, but I've been thinking, I could do this smoke blacked out look, with the turn signal indicators and rear lights and stuff, but I might just keep it stock because I think it looks fine as it is. And so many of these cars get, really tweaked and stuff over time, modified, and it's hard to find an original unmolested one. So I might just keep it the way it is. So let's take a look at inside here. We got black Napa interior. The only thing I've pretty much done so far in the interior is sort of just scrubbed and shampooed the carpets really good. They were okay, but they were a little bit dirty. But I really haven't gotten knee deep into Super Concours interior cleaning. That shifter's going too, that Momo aluminum shifter. Yeah, I got a new one on order. That's OEM. I need a new coin box there that's missing, so I got a friend who has one. He's sending me one of those. Just a few other interior bits and stuff I need to just address. I'm going to clean the leather really good with my brushes. I mean, it looks clean, but you know, after 20 years, it's probably never thoroughly been cleaned, that leather. So I'll go at that and make it so it's actually clean. And there was stuff underneath the seats and stuff like that. I found Dixie cups and stuff. It's one of those things where people clean the car, but they clean only what they can see. So to them it's clean, but you know, to people like you and me, it's still filthy. So there was $5 and change underneath the seats, unopened containers of Tic Tacs and stuff. So I finally got all that stuff cleaned up. The back seats pretty much unmolested, not a lot going on here. I did pull the floor mats out of the back, and I probably should put those back in. I ordered a new set, actually, a brand new set of M3 floor mats. Nobody's ever cleaned the door jambs in this car before, so that's one of those things where to anybody else it probably doesn't matter, but I'm gonna have to go at it with a fine-tooth comb in there and get those so you can eat out of them. Looking at the driver's side here, pretty much the same stuff going on. As you can see, we got the onboard computer. This is the stock Harman Kardon head unit that it came with. I might change it out to, I think it's the CD43. It's got a much better head unit. I think they improved it quite a bit. I think it's got more wattage and stuff and just improved sound. So it's kind of a just plug and play jobby. So that's an option. And I might also do the Bavarian, the Bav Auto Stage 1 audio upgrade with the subwoofers under the seats. It's kind of a plug and play sort of deal. I don't really want to tear up this car and put like an aftermarket stereo in it, start cutting and stuff. So that's kind of a DIY project where you just sort of pop out the original speakers, put in the new ones, and you're good to go. There's that ugly shifter again. But the inside's pretty much unmolested. There's a little bit of wear on the steering wheel. But that's pretty much about as bad as it gets. The seats are pretty good. The bolsters for a car this old are really good. You know, a lot of the times they've just been beat to hell and they've almost worn to the point where they're ashen white. But those look pretty good. The AC's great. But the gas gauge is the one issue I do need to figure out. It just keels over when I put a full tank in. It works for about a quarter tank, and then from about 3/4 tank to a half tank, it starts keeling over all the time and just has a mind of its own. And I think the check engine light has something to do with that. I'll have to pull out my OBD2 reader and read the check engine light code and see what it is, but I'm sure it's all related. So we'll get that sorted out eventually. So as you can see, I mean, the car does look lowered, and that's not your eyes playing any tricks on you. It's got a full Coney suspension with H&R springs. So it's dropped like 30 or 40 millimeters in the front and like 10 or 15 in the rear. And it drives like it's on rails. And I hear like the suspension on these cars is kind of a weak spot. So glad the prior owner did that. The guy who owned the dealership, the high-end dealership, who used this as his personal car, he's going to turn it into a track car, but it ended up, such a nice car. He just talked himself out of it. So he put like 6,000 or 7,000 miles on it, did the full suspension stuff. He put in Stop Tech rotors and brakes and stuff, so it stops really good. So it's nice to have that stuff done. Strut brace he put in as well. So yeah, it's going to stop great. It handles great. A lot of this stuff is the kind of thing I probably wouldn't have done myself, but I'm really glad somebody else did it because I'm paying pennies on the dollar. And it's not the kind of thing that really takes away from the OEM look of the car too much. I haven't really thought about this, but I might swap out those headlights for some aftermarket Euro ones. You can also get them with the angel eyes, but Jesus, I'm thinking about the angel eye install I did on the E46, and that was a bitch. So kind of worried about that, but I'll consider it again. So the engine here, I mean, it's all here. It's, you know, it's just dirty. I mean, nothing is really deteriorated or broken or anything like that. It's just never been properly cleaned. So that's going to be a huge, you know, undertaking to clean it all up. But it's kind of the, you know, the thing, you do it once, you do it right, then you really don't have to do it much again. I'm going to have to replace the front cowling though. It's the front rubber strip that connects to the windshield, that's also part of the cowling. Over time, it just cracks and falls apart in the sun. It dries out, and that's what was happening. So I took some black electrical tape and just taped that seam up so any moisture wouldn't get underneath it until I do that. But that's not a big deal. That's like a $60 part, so I should be able to handle that myself. The other thing I might have to address here is the rubber seal gasket along the left driver's side here of the rocker panel. It's kind of coming off and deteriorating, so it looks like that's also a pretty moderate DIY project. That's not too terribly overwhelming. There's just some clips and stuff you got to take out to pull the side skirts out and then replace that strip for like $100 with the clips and stuff. But overall, just hardly any scratches on this car at all. No dings. I mean, the paint is impeccable. It is as straight as an arrow. So it's definitely a car that's been unmolested for pretty much its whole life. And that's what I tell you. You know, you just do your best to find a good one. Try to find the nicest one you can find. Buy the nicest one you can afford, because it's going to save you a whole bunch of money later. EAG actually had a car almost exactly like this in their inventory. This is a 97. They had a 98, but they had the same car, red, sedan, pretty much same options. They had 10,000 more miles, but they were asking like $6,000 more. So they got great cars, but they're really expensive. And so it's just worth my time to really do my due diligence and find something, even if I have to travel for it, and save myself some bucks. Now, you also get me hell for not driving the E46 that much, but hey, I drove from Florida back to the Midwest in this thing, and that was 800 miles. So I put more miles on this car in one day, in the first day of ownership, than I did in the 15 months since I've had the M3. In fact, 3 times as many miles. So there you go. So these cars are really good buys, I think, right now. They bottomed out. They're less than half of MSRP, even the good ones. That's where you want to be. Is it going to be worth a lot of money in 2 years? Well, I don't know about 2 years, but I don't plan on getting rid of it in 2 years. So I'm in it for the long haul. So the days of inline sixes and normally aspirated cars, those days are over. They are over, folks. Everything's going 4-cylinder, turbocharged, hybrid, you know, smaller, more efficient power plants. It's all EPA, CAFE driven. So if you want the older, more analog cars that are normally aspirated, you know, manual transmission cars, you're going to have to go back in time and buy them, because they're just not making them anymore. If you want a raw experience, you're going to have to go back 15 years. These cars just drive differently, they handle differently, but they also look different. They have a look to them all of themselves, the 80s and 90s cars, and that's what I love about them. So these are the cars I grew up on, and those are the ones I like to own. As you can see here, no window tint on the car yet, but that's going in tomorrow for the tint. So we'll see how it looks when it's done. Hopefully it'll look much better. So that's really the first project that's ongoing, and once I get the car back, I can start tackling some of the other stuff. I got to get my 930 out of the garage. I'm out of garage space, so I got a buddy who's going to store it for me, and he's got a secure sort of garage man cave, so I can free up some space in order to work on this car. Let's wrap this up. If you haven't bought an E36 M3 yet, you might want to take a look at them. Now's the time to buy them. I think they're better buys right now than the E24 M6, just because where the market is. If you like this video, like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, at ChrisWorldTV, all that bullshit. If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe today so you never miss an episode. Take care.